I don't know how well this is going to work. Obviously, my voice is elevated. The reason it's elevated is because of my environment. I got my back against the wall right now. It doesn't feel very good, but it's keeping the tent from blowing in. Not sure if you can hear the wind. Anyway, I got a call from Melissa this morning. It was inappropriate for her to call me, especially given the allegations against her. Also, like I said, when you try to turn them into themselves, they're going to talk over you, change the subject, or try to make it out to be your fault that they didn't do their jobs. Or, of course, it's not my job, it's not my job. Well, whether it's her job or not, it is for certainly not her job to tell mandatory reporters not to do their jobs as mandatory reporters. So listen to this conversation. I did ask her repeatedly if she was a mandatory reporter. She wanted to not answer the question. These guys go out of their way to play stupid. They don't want to answer any questions. They just want to deflect. Which is what the sheriff's department told her. That if anybody calls the police, is not to call the police if a homeless person is being abused. The sheriff's department told Melissa that they're not to call the police department or the sheriff's department unless we are harming ourselves or others. They don't care if others are harming us. Now, Melissa said these things while I was in the building to the employees, to the peer support workers. So yeah, this is something that does need to be paid attention to. Then the very next meeting that I had with Miss Shelley. Of course, I had to deal with that as well, didn't I? After all the things she said and claimed she was going to do, she never did any of them. So, we're going to play this here with Melissa and Russ. And by the way, Russ just assumes that everything that I do is recorded. Smart man. If only Melissa were that intelligent, or Shelley were that intelligent. I went a really long time without recording them. But yeah, you fucked up pretty big, and when you fuck up that big and commit felonies, I'm not going to stop recording after that. I can't afford to. We'll pause it for a second. Obviously, we got the wind going on here. That was going on while I was making the phone call as well. During one part of the phone call, you'll get to hear me get extra loud. That's very specific. For obvious reasons.
Sorry, there's a bit of wind and I live in a plastic tent.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you hear that it's Melissa and Russell from CARE?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Barely.
I'm calling. You talked to my supervisor, Sean, I believe yesterday, maybe.
No, ma'am. He never called me back. He was supposed to, but he didn't.
But you did speak to him at some point.
I spoke to him a couple of days.
Now, you guys who have been following my channel, you got to listen to the recordings with him. Obviously, there's two different scenarios here going on. What he's saying and what she's saying don't exactly line up. The other thing is, I was trying to turn her in for committing felonies while working at CARE. So, yeah, it's pretty important for me not to have to be sent back to this person and for this person not to make phone calls to me. After a disabled and vulnerable adult has accused somebody of these types of abuse, it is against the law to do this right here. Now, she does try to play nice. Talk nicely anyway, for a little bit.
Oh, yes, ma'am. I had to try to turn you in, and I had to try to turn in the situation with Shelley, and also the situation with the police. Tillamook Family Counseling Center.
Well, what I want to do is let you know what we're available for you and if you to meet with us.
I don't mind meeting with Russell, but I do need to meet with Sean, and I've been informed that he is out till Monday, so he's not taking the situation seriously.
Well, he did. He passed it on to me and Russell to make this call to you. I was instructed by him to do so. So that's why I'm calling today. And he wanted me to let you know that Russell and I would be willing to sit with you and while you make the call to meet.
Also, she knows it's not appropriate. What she's offering here is almost what I need. She wants to keep on changing the dynamics and what they're willing to do, and me and Russell sat down. He's aware that I post on the internet. He's aware that I was recording. I'll be posting the conversation with him up next because it shows that, well, Miss Melissa here was full of shit. She also tried to do the whole making ultimatums thing. No, we're not going to play that fucking game. And I do apologize for raising my voice. Obviously, the wind is being lovely again.
Ma'am, I've been filling out the housing paperwork since 2022, and you are aware of that. You are well aware of that. You are aware that the first thing I did was fill out the housing paperwork, and if Russell is with you right now, then he can tell you that I filled out the housing paperwork, and then it got lost, so he gave me more papers to fill out, and when I was filling those out, he found the ones that were lost. But now Miss Shelley can't find them. It's been months in the situation with the abuse. I go in there to try to turn in situations where I'm being assaulted, threatened, and abused, and people are committing hate crimes against me, and I have to try to turn it into you guys. I'm repeatedly sent to mandatory reporters. Mandatory reporters have a job to do immediately when it happens. When I go in there and I tell the ladies at the front desk about the abuse that I'm enduring, instead of them listening and taking it seriously, they start telling me stories about their exes or about their cousins or things of that nature, and then they tell me that they'll set up an appointment with Shelley. Miss Shelley has missed over half of the appointments. I have appointment card after appointment card with her. There's also the stuff that was destroyed in my file. That's not okay. It's never okay for somebody to destroy the stuff in my file. So part of the stuff that I have to turn in is also the evidence of her admission that she destroyed part of the stuff in my file. This is all stuff that needs to be taken care of. There's also the situation with you guys being told not to do your jobs as mandatory reporters. I was there when you told the employees that they're not to call the police if we're being abused. Your guys are only to call the police if one of us is wanting to harm ourselves or somebody else, and that's also not okay. It doesn't matter that that came from the sheriff's department. The fact is, if the sheriff's department is giving you instructions like that, that's against the law for them to do so.
What I'm here to do today, Sean, is to offer you these things that we are here, that we're paid to do, and things that we can help you with. And if you feel like we have already done that and to no avail, then
No. Do not put words in my mouth. What I'm saying is that every time...
Now, at that part, what do we have going on here? She's wanting to deflect. She's wanting to put words in my mouth. How many people have done this? They try to reword what it is that I'm saying into something else. This is exactly what I was afraid would happen if I had to talk to Melissa. It's the same thing that I had to deal with Miss Shelley. Sure, they blow it off nicely. Sort of. Also, at this point in the video, that's right when one of them wind things... What the fuck? Let's try that again. I thought that was kind of weird. Yeah, one of those weird wind things picked up and was rattling it right at that point. So that makes it even more complicated. Got hour paid jobs. You're paid mandatory reporters. If you're a priest and there's a job to do as a mandatory reporter, you don't get to ignore that job because you're a priest. If you're a doctor or a nurse who is a mandatory reporter, you don't get to ignore that job just because you're a nurse or a doctor. It's still your job. Now, if you are literally in the process of saving a life, that's understandable. Everything else is against the law. Now, by refusing to look at the evidence, then they get to pretend that my allegations are not credible, and that allows their slander to continue to harm me going on into the future. This is not okay. Now, at this point, yes, I'm fucking pissed that this woman is putting words in my mouth. And my roof is shaking like it's doing right now. Well, not exactly right now, but you've gotten to see it through this video that it is happening.
That I fill out this housing paperwork, you guys continually pretend, and I'm sorry that it's getting windy here and that it's getting loud in here and my voice is raising as a result of that. But no, you do not get to put words in my mouth and pretend anything like that, okay? When it comes to the housing stuff, I have not been against the housing stuff. I have been filling out the housing stuff, and every time I go in there for mandatory reporting stuff, you guys want to change the subject to housing. I've done what I can with housing. If I have to fill out more paperwork, I've said repeatedly to you guys, and in every single session with Miss Shelley, I'm willing to fill out that paperwork again. I'm willing to fill it out as many times as it takes. But along with that, you guys are mandatory reporters, and you need to take it seriously. I have endured repeated assaults because nobody at CARE wanted to take the situation seriously and wanted to change the subject repeatedly.
Or at Kilmet Family Counseling Center, or the police
I'm not
department.
saying no to housing. I've never said no to housing.
Sean, can I interrupt you for a second? So, what I can tell you is that CARE is a nonprofit that helps people get housing. They're not a reporting agency.
There's no such thing as a reporting agency. There is a job of mandatory reporter or not. You are either a mandatory reporter or you aren't.
Now, at that point, with all of the wind going on, I was much closer. Like this close. And sticking my head like this to try to hear, well, the same thing that I've been doing. So that part right there, I was just really close to the microphone.
Such as child protective
Adult Protective Services. But Adult Protective Services isn't doing anything because you guys never call them when I come to you. When I go to Adult Protective Services, they do the same thing that you do. Adult Protective Services is not making any effort to investigate any of this. They're not making any effort to come collect evidence. They're not making any effort to send anybody out. They're not doing anything.
Is this someone that you would like us to sit and call with you that you think would do something about these things?
Well, you guys are mandatory reporters, so anybody that we need to call, but the thing is that I am fine with making that call with Russell, but you are one of the people who I have to turn in. You guys aren't just for housing. If somebody who is disabled is coming in there because they're abused, you do have to do your due diligence.
Setting up some
When it comes to
structural
mandatory
stability.
reporters, by law, you have to turn it in immediately, and you have to make a written report within 24 hours. Now, I do have the conversation between me and Miss Shelley where we spoke about that situation, and where she told me that you told her she's not allowed to do her job as a mandatory reporter in this, and she's not allowed to do any of the things that she said she would do to support me.
I would respectfully say that I would never tell Kelly that. You would have to witness things and see your right.
So if a 9-year-old girl comes in and she says, I have a video of my dad raping me, do you have to witness the rape? Do you think her dad is going to rape her in front
See, she's going out of her way to play stupid. The mandatory reporter laws are pretty fucking clear. Now, she says that she's not a mandatory reporter. Whether she is or not, she should not be obstructing justice when it comes to disabled and vulnerable adults, which is what she's been doing. If she's not a mandatory reporter, and yet she's telling people who are mandatory reporters that they're not allowed to do their job as mandatory reporters, she's still breaking the law. She also shouldn't have a hand in that cookie jar. She shouldn't be getting paid for that job because, as somebody who's not a mandatory reporter, she has no clue what the fuck is going on because she's not a mandatory reporter. And this is the claim that she makes, is that she's not actually a mandatory reporter. Like, through all this, she's trying to deflect, she's trying to defer, she's trying to do anything except fess up to the fact that she fucked up. When I screw up, I admit it. Not only do I admit it right away, so that we can move on, move forward. Every time they do this shit, this is a fucking stall spot. And I'm stuck stalled until Monday.
They've committed felonies through this situation. Alright? I'm fine with working with Russell, but I'm trying to get you put in prison for the things that you have been doing.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry that you broke up with that. And I want you to feel that's fine, but this is what we're offering you. And we also have to go for work that we're here for.
My one question here, this is the easiest one for you to answer. Are you mandatory reporters?
You've already made it clear that you believe that we are. So
I'm asking you to answer whether or not you are, because I've had multiple people tell me that they are. Are you?
See, she goes out of her way not to answer the question and to project it onto me. I'm asking a legitimate question. Well, you've made it very clear that you think that we are. Well, some of these people have stated that they are. I've also stated that I've been sent there to speak to mandatory reporters, so it's not like I've been unclear about any of this. You can tell that she is literally going out of her way to be as unclear as possible, to avoid the actual situation and the severity of the situation. And as soon as we start posting up Russell's conversation when we're done with this one, you're going to get to hear that as well. You'll get to hear the difference between Russell when it's he and I talking versus any situation that's got one of my predators involved in it. Sean never should have had her call me.
I am not a mandatory reporter under the guise of the certification that I am. You have others here who are certified under other things, and yes, they are. So, what I'm saying to you is, you can come in, and if there is anything that you believe, yes or otherwise, go for protect discussion, whatever you think is most appropriate,
And she tried to pull this pushing the one call to one place. And with them, like her and Russell. And I keep saying, not you. I'm not okay with that. I should not be negotiating with this woman at this point. I should not have ever gotten a call from her. I should have gotten a call from Sean yesterday. What he did is not okay. This is not okay. Making us turn in our predators to themselves. Allowing our predators to take an active role. No, this is not okay. This is definitely not okay. The mandatory reporter laws for the disabled, for children, and for the elderly are the same. Their responsibilities are the same. Their vulnerabilities are the same. For me, I'm an adult. I'm adult-sized. Thank goodness. That gives me a little bit of ability to defend myself beyond what a 5-year-old can. But with my physical disabilities, it's not by much.
One time, and then completed that task.
No, that is not okay. It is not okay. No, that is not okay. It is not okay that I'm having to sit with a felon who I'm trying to turn in to try to make those calls. Sean should have called me and spoken with me yesterday. I am making very severe accusations against you guys, and they need to be taken seriously. You guys coordinated with TFCC and the police to pretend that I was delusional for trying to turn in abuse. I was sent to you guys by the police because you're supposed to be mandatory reporters.
Depends on which time.
Okay, I'll go and sit with Russell. But it's not just going to be one call. It's not just going to be one call.
They're going to make
certain
callbacks.
criteria and certain tasks that need to be involved in turning in abuse against an at-risk and vulnerable adult.
Correct.
Russell knows enough that he is able to state outright and very clearly that this abuse has been going on and that he has seen it, he has witnessed it, he has gotten to see videos of it. He is aware that it's happening and my life is at risk. And he has told me that he believes my life is at risk.
Not bad. Being the best describer of what's going on in your life. You're not already.
Ma'am, because I am a disabled person, if I do
He's a witness to this, and we'll get into that with his conversation with me from today, because I walked down there immediately after this call. I had to go down there and get my mail. And I did speak to Russell while I was there. The things that she's saying versus the things that Russell are saying in his conversation are very, very, very different. And here, at least, she's willing to let me speak with just Russell, which is why I went down there.
of that talking myself, it's not going to go anywhere. I have to have a witness. That's the thing about mandatory reporters. If they refuse to turn in the abuse, you've got evidence of the abuse, and you say, hey, I have evidence of the abuse, then it is their job to turn it in.
You might not be able to tell this, but she does try to talk over that part. She just realizes that I'm going to say what I need to say. You don't get to cut me off right before I get to explain an important detail that you would be required to turn in by law. Now, she's already stated that she's not a mandatory reporter. She should not be involved in this at all. She should not be giving instructions to anybody who is a mandatory reporter. Because if she is instructing them to commit felonies, and because of the repeated assaults that I've endured because they didn't do their jobs, they did become felonies. The same thing with the police officers here.
What I called you today to say clearly and plainly, you'd like to come in and have an appointment with Russell to make that call, to make the report, we are willing to do that. Russell has a new position now, so after that, that was it. If you want more here in regards to housing,
You notice she put the emphasis on an appointment. Well, I spoke with Russell today. We were able to record that he was aware that the stuff was going on, that it is true, and he does believe my life is in danger. And he has seen this evidence that Miss Shelley is plain stupid about. He also spoke to me about that picture. It was a picture of me, and it was about the Natalie Bollinger situation, apparently. Imagine that. And they had it on their wall for months. Months. Russell said that it was still there when he started working there, which was only a few months ago. So it was up there for over a year. Probably close to 2 years. Not months. It was up for years. At least one, possibly more. Keep in mind, I was in jail for 15 months. And they put that picture up before I went to jail. And I met Russell after I got out of jail, and he'd only been working there a couple of months.
Russell is a witness at this point, and that is very important to know. Russell does need to speak about what he knows. That is important. That's one of the things about the mandatory reporter thing is that he does have to make a report within 24 hours. Thank you.
Now, the thing is that she was trying to set up a raw fucking deal. No. Like, Jesus Christ, if you're gonna fucking rape me, the least you can do is put on a condom. Holy hell. If you're gonna fuck me up the ass, use some lube.
When you guys sent him to the little housing park, that entire 2 weeks, he was kept on telling me every time I saw him that we were going to work on this stuff as soon as he was done with that, and then he was transferred over. Well, it would have been nice if that whole 2 weeks of abuse that I was enduring, I'd have had somebody to be able to turn it into that could be trusted. Anyway, I have to go down there and pick up my mail, obviously, so I'll be down there in just a few minutes.
Okay, so after that, apartment application.
Yes, ma'am.
So have you called and checked on any of your placing and those?
Now, here she's asking me if I've called these places with the housing. They haven't even found my fucking housing paperwork. And Russell says that he gave me a manila envelope that has that stuff in it, has the copies, and I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I said that to her too. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he gave it to me. It's probably in the pile of shit that's fucking molded beyond all repair. But I'll check in there. Like I said, it's Oregon and it's mildewy. No, I didn't say that in this video, but I've said it in previous ones because a lot of my evidence is mildewed. So I walked down there to speak with him. But here she wants to have this conversation on the phone. She wants to dig for as much information in this situation as she can possibly use later on because she's aware that I'm trying to turn her in for felonies. And you guys are aware that I did tell Sean I was trying to turn her in for felonies. Her in specific. So them refusing to do their jobs has led directly to me being assaulted on multiple occasions. When I tell them I was sent here specifically for a mandatory reporter, that's what I'm there for. If I tell them that I was sent there because they're supposed to have a room for us to sit in, that's what I'm there for. If we set up a meeting to work on housing stuff, then let's actually work on the housing thing. Shelly's done jack shit. When Russell stopped, all of it stopped. There was no longer anything getting fucking done.
Ma'am, I haven't gotten any information back on any of that. That was what me and Russell were working on, and Miss Shelly hasn't worked on anything with me. Everything that me and Russell were working on, she stalled out.
Now she's asking me if I made phone calls to these places. No, I haven't. I didn't know I was supposed to make phone calls to these places. As far as I knew, Russell was supposed to help me with that process. But I've been stuck with Shelly. You also got to hear her after she was saying it was just going to be one call, where she put the real big emphasis on it. And then afterwards, because he's going to be doing something else. Well, whether he's doing something else or not, he's a witness. Whether he's a mandatory reporter or not, he's a witness. And I told them that I needed a mandatory reporter. So they give me somebody who's not. It's kind of like when they defer and deflect to some place like Tides of Change. And the Tides of Change people are not mandatory reporters. Why did I go to Tides of Change? Because they were supposedly mandatory reporters. They supposedly help disabled people and victims of long-term abuse to turn in the abuse and get it to stop. That's not reality.
Nothing has been getting done. Do what?
Russell's here with me and he said that he filled out apartment applications with you. He scanned them to the apartment complexes and he gave you back the original copies.
I did not get back the original copies. Well, you always get back the original copies. Doesn't detract from the fact that you guys have made plenty of mistakes before. There's a possibility there was a mistake made on this. I definitely do not have copies of it. I definitely do not have any of that going on.
I don't.
I can hear him talking.
See, even the help that they're claiming that they're supposed to provide, they're not providing. And then they're wanting to project it onto the people they're supposed to be helping because they didn't do what they're supposed to. They didn't do what they claimed they were going to do. Now, when I start posting up the stuff with Miss Shelley, you're going to be able to tell that. Also, the phone call or the meeting where I thought that I hadn't recorded the situation with the officer, it turns out I actually had. It actually did work. So that's going to be going up too. This is not okay.
But I can't hear what he's saying.
Oh, here we go. Let me turn the phone for you, Sean. Hold on.
When I scanned those for you, I put them in a middle envelope and handed them to you in the lobby. That's the three that we had filled out at that time. So I can give them back to you. I do have a bunch of manila envelopes in here. I can dig through them and see if they're there. I was digging
And I'm
through
gonna.
them, I want to say yesterday. The only stuff that I had
And I
from
did.
here was the photocopies of my birth certificate, the photocopies of my driver's license, and I can't remember what was in the other one, but it's not housing.
It would be important to grab those if you still have them.
I obviously don't have them. This is the thing, is that I've looked in the manila envelopes. I'll look in them again, but I don't.
At this point, it's 14 minutes long where I've had to talk to a woman who's committed felonies. These are felonies. She obstructed justice. She assisted my predators in getting away. She did it knowingly, willingly, and intelligently. She did so knowing that the Natalie Bollinger situation was true. Jesus Christ.